Boom.
Bingo, bingo. All right. So today, what I want to talk about is the relationship between departments, right? So especially when it comes to design and development, there's a rift that usually happens there because they're two completely different functions that actually in some cases see the world in very different ways. One is trying to create something that is more emotive and emotional that people are going to tug at the heartstrings when they see, and on the other side the other is trying to deliver function. Is there crossover here? Of course there is. There's a ton of different correlations, but at the end of the day, you can take these two differences, and one person is going to create something for emotion, the other person is going to create something for logic, right? All right, we got that. So what we see with a lot of agencies is that on the design side, they will create something, package up all these files, and just flip them over the proverbial wall over to the development team. Right. Well, if you want to create, pretty things that sell, right? Essentially websites, apps, whatever that is, you have to have teamwork, right? And it sounds like a cliche, but the more that these two teams work together, the better. So what we've done that's been successful, and we've seen others that have done this because we sell to multiple agencies, our agency, is they bring us in at the beginning of that sales process. So let's say that you do all your design and your dev in-house, right? Well, you bring your designer and your dev together in the beginning of that sales process. You have a team selling approach based on the way that you quote your work. And then you have agreements throughout every step of the process. And what I mean by that is, so the designer and the developer commits to the price that's on that contract. They commit to what their deliverables are. We're going to do this, X number of templates, for a website, for instance. This is how many hours the design team is going to spend on that. This is what we're going to deliver over the development team. So they know exactly how much time they have to spend on it. And when both of those people are included in the decision-making process, literally everybody in the room, the buy-in on both sides creates spectacular projects where literally design, tech equals love. It's a fantastic thing. So the takeaway there is involve your team in the entire process. Don't have your own pitch team that just creates something that the production team's not going to be able to see. Don't have just an account manager or a salesperson just work up a proposal that they're going to just try to jam into your production department. Involve everybody in that decision where they can see the work that's going to be coming down the line, where they can give their expert opinion because that's why you have them hired. And you will see your profitability go up as well as your morale. And down the line, the amount of sales you're going to be able to make based on this approach will continually turn into a perpetual flywheel, which I think is a bit redundant.
I absolutely love it. And I can attest that we had pain. It took pain to figure this process out, right? And once we got it, man, isn't life so much better? People are bought in. People are focused on what they need to do to deliver a project. There's no surprises. They saw it coming. And
what's done is a great thing.
Yeah.
So it's just like, all right, well, you can move out. So it's literally going down the production line. There's the example, it's a QC example. I can't remember where I heard it, based on when the Americans went over to Japan, I think it was like Toyota, and they said, well, like, why don't you have the guy at the end of the line there, checking all the cars? It's like, well, because we did it right the entire way through the process. And it's the same thing here. If you involve everybody else in the process, you don't have to continually pull in everybody else that was at the beginning, because as it goes down, you're essentially, pulling them out, and everybody's happy at the end.
Plus, it's a team game. You put everybody in that team game mentality, and there's no finger pointing. There's no blaming. Did we do a good job as a team or did we not? We don't want, you don't want sales saying, well, we sold it. Hey, we did our job. Now figure out how to do it. Because if production's getting overwhelmed because the scope is blown. I mean, we all are familiar with scope creep, right? It's the worst part of any job. Scope creeps just sucks because expectations are not being met, and people are pissed off. So it really does help prevent scope creep because we kind of identify those unknowns before we sign a proposal. And not all sales isn't aware of all the technical jargon or connections and APIs and all the deeper level stuff that needs to be explored. So you have to involve the production team in that. And it works really well with us. It's in all my years in my career, I never really had this approach. This was an approach we kind of crafted, and it works really well. And
out of
And it came from
necessity
the
and
team.
failure, right? Like we literally were just like, okay, this is madness. Like looking at it, not judging the situation, just how can we make this better, involving the
Yeah.
team to make a decision. And that's how we came to it. And we've been working with other agencies on it, and they love it as well.
Creating a process that flat out says you cannot send a proposal to a client without a production team lead approving it. I mean, that was just flat out. We had to make a law, and it works.
Yeah,
It's great.
so, boom.